Hello everyone, it's That One Sock and welcome back to my channel. Today we are taking a look at my Torterra deck profile post-rotation for Temporal Forces. This deck has been quite good for me. I've quite enjoyed it. There are multiple builds that you can go with Torterra. To me, I do a grass toolbox. I really like grass. I like grass a lot. I don't like it when I think that getting the most value out of Forest March attack is really good, and hitting for 180 and hitting Charizard and having this unmovable object in the active position is quite good. I think that people really do not value the value that Torterra has with its big HP and inability to get one shot if it's not getting hit for weakness. Which in the current format, there's really only a couple cards that can hit this thing for weakness, being Radiant Charizard, Entei, and Gouging Fire. There's really nothing else that's going to kill you. I mean, like Incineroar, I guess, but like, you know, it is what it is. This deck has a ton of techs. I use a ton of different grass types, so you guys are just gonna have to wait and see for my list, and I cannot wait to show you guys. So let's get into it. So first of all, we run 2 of the Torterra EX. I really like the 2 count. I think 2 has been perfect for me. I also run 2 Super Rods, so if it dies, then we bring it back from the graveyard anyways. So Torterra, if you don't know what this card does, it is a EX card, and it has 340 HP. So which means that it's the highest HP in the entire game, along with, there's a couple more cards. I have 340, Garganackle EX, and the next set has it, and I think some card from 151 has it, like Blastoise or Venusaur, I don't know. The main attack here is Forest March. You're never going to use the other attack, you might as well not even look at it. Forest March does 30 damage for each of your grass Pokemon in play. It maxes out at 180, and if you hit for a weakness on Charizard, you one-shot it with 180 damage, which is pretty good. And then we also have the 4 retreat cost at the bottom, which is very important for a card later in the deck. So we run 4 of that, and then we also run 2 of the Evo Press Torterra. This is a really sick card. Unfortunately, the energy cost is a little bit ugly, but we do have ways to fix that. So we do run the Evo Press. Evo Press does 50 damage for each of your evolution Pokemon in play, and not only that, it also has 4 retreat costs, which is also important. It's also 190 on a single prizer, which is really fire. This card can hit up to 300 damage. It's pretty good indeed. Of course, since we're playing Torterra, we are going to run 4 of the Grottle. Grottle allows us to search your deck for any grass Pokemon every single turn, multiple times, depending on how many Grottles you have. You can chain Grottle, you can search Grottle to grab another Grottle, to grab another Grottle, to grab whatever you want. So yeah, I love this Grottle so far. It's really been helping with the lack of Buddy Poffin. The Grottle really makes up for it. Speaking of no Buddy Poffin, this Turtwig is here and is our Turtwig of choice because of the fact that it cannot get Radiant Greninja'd. Let's talk about it. It has 80 HP, which is very sad, but it is what it is. And then it has the ability Solid Shell. This Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks. I'm pretty sure they are going to print a Turtwig in the future that has 70 HP, but this is the one we're working with right now. Especially if Torterra ends up being a pretty popular deck, I'm sure they will print a 70 HP one, because you know, like Charizard got the Charmeleon that has the Flame Veil ability. It also who else got Frigibax has 3 different Frigibaxes. You know, like if Turtwig in Torterra is a very popular deck, I'm sure they will print a 70 HP version for the people that wanna, you know, have a 70 HP one. Now let's get into the techs. Okay, we have 2 Beautifly from Lost Origin. This card is so nice. I love this card. It draws you so many cards. Stroke draw, once you're in your turn, you can draw cards until you have 6 cards in hand. Just gonna be honest, if you get Beautifly out, majority of the time you win the game. You just win the game. But the thing about it, I don't run Silcoon, so it is a little bit awkward getting to the Beautifly because you need the rare candy to get to it, you know what I mean? So it is a little bit difficult, but we do have ways of searching that rare candy, so it's not the end of the world. Of course, we run the 2 Wurmple is searchable by Buddy Poffin, but we don't have that, so yeah. Anyways, we have the 1 Whimsicott in the deck. This allows you to uplifting heal our Torterra. So the reason why I don't run more than 1 is because you simply don't need more than 1. Majority of the time, you're only going to be healing once or twice during a game, so I don't really see the point in running multiple Whimsicotts, unfortunately. So yeah, I just run the 1. And then of course we run the Cottony to go with it. You can use this attack, I guess. I mean, low-key 40 damage for one energy attachment is not that bad. It's not that bad. This is my final tag. I do run Shaman V-Star. Y'all probably screaming at me through the camera. But listen, Torterra has a capped damage amount, right? It does 180, right? In late game, I find myself always wanting to do big dam. So this is why I have the Shaman V-Star in here. It does 120 and does 40 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. We don't care about Star Bloom. We're never going to use it. But it is an option. You can use Star Bloom. But basically, Revenge Blast is here, 40 more damage. So basically, late game, if they take 4 prizes, you can hit for 280 damage, which is so good. It's such a good attack. And of course, we run the one Shaman V. This Shaman V is very important because it also has the Revenge Blast attack. So if you prize your V-Star, you can still use Revenge Blast late game. I was running just the Shaman V and not the V-Star, just for Steelstone. And I will say, there was been more than 5 times where I have had the Shaman V out and I've had Evo Press and I've missed I've basically just missed a KO because I didn't have enough evolution Pokemon in play, but I had this on the bench and I was like, you know what? I'm fucking over this. I'm about to run V-Star. I'm about to run the fucking V-Star. Like, I don't care. I'm about to run the V-Star. And not only that, with Grottle, I've had multiple times where I've been able to search out one more Pokemon, but I have a full bench and nothing can evolve other than a Shaman V. And I've had that happen multiple times. So that's what led me to putting the Shaman V-Star into the deck. Not only that, you can use Star Bloom, but I use Forest Seal Stone majority of the time because you need pieces in this deck, and we don't have Buddy Puffin, so getting set up and getting your board established with Forest Seal Stone is usually the play that I like to do instead of using shitty Star Bloom because it only affects the bench Pokemon and only heals 120. This shit sucks. This shit sucks, by the way. Then for supporters, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 Arvin. This is to search our nest balls. This is to search rare candies to make sure that we do not break. I also have multiple tools in the deck, so searching them out from the deck is quite good indeed. I also run 3 Ionos to allow us to draw cards and establish that, we need some more cards in our hand. We need more cards in our hand. Iono allows both players to shuffle their hand, put it at the bottom of the deck, and draw cards equal to their prize cards. So in a deck that really needs to set up like Torterra, you usually go down a couple prizes. So getting an Iono in play is really good for establishing your board and putting your opponent behind. Then we run the 2 bosses orders. We like to gust, of course, to take KOs on stuff that is potentially on the bench, take out draw engines, take out stuff like that. You can play the long game with Torterra because of the healing that we have and the fact that it is such a big Pokemon and we have single prizers to attack with. So you can kind of just play the long game with Torterra and take out their bench stuff, take out their engines, take out stuff like that. Like you can end up doing a lot of stuff with this. And then of course we do run the 1 Turo. I only like the 1 Turo. We have Palpad in here. I think I run Palpad in here. Let me check. I do run Palpad in here, so you can reuse Turo. I run 2 Super Rod to reuse Whimsicott. I use Palpad to reuse Turo. I like the count that I have right now. So that's it for the supporters. Let's get into the items. We run 1, 2, and 3 Ultra Ball. I don't like discarding, so that's why I have 3 Ultra Balls. Not only that, but Grottle searches every single Pokemon from the deck, so I don't really find myself needing the Ultra Ball, but running 3 is a pretty decent count anyways, so yeah. Then we run 4 of the Nest Ball. Check out this Nest Ball I got from Japan. That's so sick. Yeah, we run 4 Nest Ball. This is a fire card, allows us to get one of our grass Pokemon and put it straight onto our bench. So yeah, pretty good. Then we run the 4 rare candy. If you don't run Beautyfly, you can go down to 3 or 2 rare candy because you usually evolve from Grottle to Torterra. But in this deck, I do run the Beautyfly, so it's very important to get our rare candies. And then I run 2 Super Rods because early game, your Pokemon die. Your Pokemon die because you take a little bit too much time to get set up, so your Pokemon end up dying. I mean, you usually go like 1 or 2 prizes behind, and then from there you become unstoppable because of your healing and stuff like that, so that's usually how you win games. Super Rod, in matchups where they don't take early KOs, you kind of steamroll. From what I have experienced, Torterra is definitely not as weak as some people speculate it is, and let me just discuss the status of this deck and how I've played in my testing. Torterra has been quite good. Torterra has been able to tank so much damage. It never gets one-shot. It wins against Charizard every time. It is definitely better than Meowscarada in terms of a grass-type deck. I've played Meowscarada versus Torterra, and Torterra definitely wins the majority of the time. Against most of my decks, Torterra just wins. It won against my Gardevoir deck. It loses to Goldengo because Goldengo one-shots it, and then Torterra doesn't do enough damage to return one-shot, so either of its main attackers, which is Palkia and Goldengo, so at the end of the game, you kind of just lose. And I haven't played Lost Box against it, but I'm sure that Lost Box seems like a sus matchup because you don't run Rabsca. I don't run Rabsca, by the way. That's one thing I must say. I do not run Rabsca. I don't believe in her. I tried Rabsca. It's so awkward. Like, yes, you can TM evolution into it. Yes, you can search to get it on. But in the majority of the times, you want like 4 Grottles on the bench. You want a Draw Engine on the bench. You want a Shaman on the bench. Like, you do not want the Rabsca. I also was running the Free Retreat Shaman over here, which is this card. And it was okay, but majority of the time I just didn't care about a pivot, so I just took it out. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I figured that the Shaman V-Star would get me a lot more value than a Free Retreat pivot, to be honest, especially because there is no real reason to run a pivot in this deck. There's no bench energy acceleration or anything like that. The Free Retreat Shaman just didn't seem necessary to me, and Rabsca doesn't seem necessary at all to me because of the simple fact that Torterra or your Turtwigs don't die from Radiant Greninja anyways. So yeah, I don't see why you would even care about Rabsca in this deck, but maybe some people just, you know, live for Rabsca. Anyways, back to the deck. I run a Heavy Ball, and the reason why I run a Heavy Ball is simply because we can't run Buddy Poffin, so getting more basics in play is really, really, really good. I do run a switch. We don't like getting stuck in the active. We like to be able to switch. I run a Pal Pad to get our Turos back from the discard pile. We also have Boss and Arven and stuff like that. So, you know, getting those into the discard pile is really good. And that's all for the items in this deck. Then we move on to stadiums. I do run the 2 Artisan. Getting our basics in play is absolutely necessary. I was running a 3 count of Artisan, but, you know, I ended up having Artisan in my hand a little bit too much, so we went down to 2. I'm sure you guys, if you want to bump up Artisan to 3, then you definitely can. And then I also run the 1 Town Store because I like being able to search out my TMs. Getting evolution early is really nice. So I've been really liking the Town Store inclusion. We run 4 different tools and they're all 1-of, so that's why I run the Town Store and the 4 Arvens, by the way. For A-Spec, we choose the Max Belt because 180 damage is not fucking it. So being able to hit 230 is really good. KO's Chen Pao, KO's all these other big basics that are really getting introduced into the format that are like 230 HP to whatever. And Max Belt just allows you to do the damage that Torterra lacks, especially with the single part Torterra, you need evolution Pokemon in play, which means that your board needs to be established. So sometimes you don't have enough establishment out to the board, but this allows you to take a KO that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, so it's pretty good. I run the 1 for Steelstone. I don't think it's necessary to run more than 1, honestly. I run the 1 Heavy Baton. Heavy Baton allows you to it really does open up Evil Press. Like, before I was running Heavy Baton, I wasn't running it originally. I would never be able to attack with this because it's 2 energy attached, or 2 energy costs. Torterra EX would always be my go-to because it's the only thing I could attack with every turn consistently, and I never was able to attack with Shaman either. But after I've included the Heavy Baton, it's really changed. It's really changed. Like, the Heavy Baton is really, really, really fire in this deck. It allows you to equip it to a Pokemon with a retreat cost of 4, and only 4, no 4 or less, or no 4 or higher, just 4. And it's that your active Pokemon and that Pokemon is knocked out from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. You can move up to 3 basic energies from that Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way. So the 4 retreat cost is really important for both of your Torterras. It means you get to keep your energies in play, and it really does allow you to keep your energies in play and make sure you can chain attacks very easily. And for the last tool in the deck, we do run the 1 Evolution. You can bump this up to 2. I had it at 2 before, but I'm running out of ways to make deck space in this deck. I find that the entire deck is extremely useful, so I didn't know what to take out for a second evolution, but running 2 evolution is definitely super good in this deck because you get to establish 2 Grottles, you get to establish things. I would also, low-key, I would recommend running a Silcoon. I would. There's been many times where I couldn't hit Rare Candy, but I've had evolution, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had a Silcoon. I wish I had a Silcoon in this deck. So yeah, that is one thing that I definitely think that you guys should experiment with. Running 2 evolution and a Silcoon to make sure your consistency is higher. But you know, we're in early stages of Temporal Forces anyways, so this is just my kind of draft deck list that I've been working with right now, and so far it's been working for me, so I hope that it works for you guys as well. For energy count, we don't run too many energies. I only run the 8 energies here. We don't run too many. It's you only need 1 energy to attack. We also run 2 super rod. It's really not that big of a deal. I've never really found myself in a position where I haven't had the energy to attack. That doesn't really come up very often, if at all. So the 8 energy has been pretty good for me. Pretty good for me. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed the Torterra deck profile. I definitely think Torterra is the strongest grass deck in format, other than like Loftina with Iron Leaves. That's definitely the strongest. But for pure grass, like pure evolution, like grass and everything, pure grass, this is definitely the strongest grass deck in the format. Maybe not my list in particular, but something close to it is definitely good. I think that people need to value this Torterra EX a little bit more. You know, people are like, oh, the Beautifly is not good, you should run Big Barrel. I don't know, man. Being able to one-hit Charizard and have a 340 tank in the active is quite valuable, I must say. Not only that, but you also have options in this deck. You have multiple different attackers. You can change the prize race with single prize or multi-prize. You can put a tank in the active. You can put a hard-hitting Pokemon in the active. You have infinite search with the Grottles. I think people should definitely give this deck a try. It's been really fun in testing. It's been shockingly strong in testing. To be honest, both of my rogue decks from Temporal Forces have been shockingly good. They have been making me very, very, very proud as a deck builder. So yeah, because you know, like I have other rogue decks. Like I have like Coffergigas over here. I have Meowscarada, and you know, they kind of do what they do. Like they're not super good. These decks are definitely stronger than those. Let me tell you that. Like these are on another level when it comes to this rogue shit. These are like on the borderline of being on a meta tier list. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, on like a meta tier list, like they'll have like S tier, and then they'll have like tier 1 and then tier 1.5 and tier 2 and then tier 3. If there was a rogue section in this, both of these decks would be in the rogue section. Like they are threats. They are threats that you don't need to account for. You don't need to tech for them, of course. Don't tech for my Torterra. Thank you very much. And they're decks that if you face against, they're definitely a threat. You should not think of that as a free matchup, because these decks, they don't play. They have tricks up their sleeve. They exist here. They have options. They are really, really, really fun. So I hope you guys experiment a little bit with these rogue decks from Temporal Forces. I've had so much fun playing with Torterra. I think that Torterra is a really, really, really cool deck, and it's definitely the grass type deck that we have been wanting. It's definitely not the most strongest grass deck. I'm sure that people want like a tier 1 grass format, you know what I mean? But this is definitely a step in the right direction, and a card in a deck that I have really been enjoying. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys test out this deck when it comes to release day. And I hope you guys like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future deck profiles. Peace.